Hey, it's the Rican, and excuse my voice, but allergies are kicking my butt right now, and it's that time of season, so I'm suffering just like plenty of you guys are. So before I get started, please like and subscribe to the channel. Um, whether you're watching this on Rumble or whether you're watching this on YouTube, either or. But let's get started. I saw this funny, well, I just can't say I can't take it seriously, but it's just a funny, not funny in the sense that it's supposed to be funny, but it's funny in ironic sense. It goes here: Seattle professor claims physics is racist. White supremacy rampant in classrooms. Why is white supremacy rampant in classrooms? Because of facts. I mean, if you read what this person says here eh, um, in their abstract here, within whiteness, the organization of social life is in terms of a center and margins that are based on dominance, control, and the transcendent figure that is consistently and structurally ascribed value over and above other figures. In this paper, we synthesize literature from critical whiteness studies and critical race theory to articulate analytic markers for whiteness and use the markers to identify and analyze whiteness as it shows up in an introductory physics classroom interaction. It goes on to say, we name mechanisms that facilitate the reproduction of whiteness in this local context, including a particular representation of energy, physics values, whiteboards, gendered social norms, and the structure of schooling. So, right off the bat, you see all the check marks, uh, all, the, all these key terms that they're using. You know, critical whiteness studies, critical race theory, your gendered social norms. And you can't help but look at this stuff and see um, this is what's going on. We're seeing I was having a conversation. I'm gonna put it like this: I was having a conversation um, uh, with someone yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, that their husband says a civil war is coming," and I told her the civil war is here, and this is the civil war. Okay, when you see this type of stuff here, um, talking about whiteness in classrooms and all this nonsense, talking about gendered social norms, you can't help but see that critical race theory and um, gender theory and queer theory, um, they're all about the destruction of our norms. And like I said, excuse me, they're all about the destruction of our norms. Where am I getting this stuff from? Well, just look at everything, every key term that they've used here, talking about, um, like I said, that from critical race theory to gender norms. What's going on? You look at everything that's going on, like in, you know, the Florida parental rights bill was deemed the "Don't Say Gay" bill, when it was just don't talk about sexuality with kids and don't talk about gender identity up to third grade. Honestly, look, I'm all, you know, for gay rights and all that stuff, but I'm also for do not teach kids this stuff. They're confused enough as it is. We don't need to throw our stuff in there. We don't need to teach them about sex. That's the parents' job, not the school's job. So to me, I don't think up to maybe up to at the very earliest, maybe middle school, maybe like, you know, 12, 13 years old. I think that's the earliest. So yeah, but anyways, so where am I going with this? Like I said, I always like to use left wing sources when I'm talking about stuff. So here's Wikipedia, and this is where I look at it from this lens here. Um, Whereas here goes postmodernism. People talk about postmodernism. You see a lot of this stuff in critical race theory. You see this stuff in gender theory, um, queer theory. I mean, even though that's all conflict theory that comes from Marxism, and all, and also if you read this stuff here, like I'm just going to read some of this for you here. Postmodernism from Wikipedia. Postmodernism is an intellectual stance or mode of discourse defined by an attitude of skepticism toward what it considers as the grand narratives and ideologies of modernism, as well as opposition to epistemic certainty and the stability of meaning. Claims to objective fact are dismissed as naive realism. Postmodernism is characterized by self-relativity, sorry, self-referentility, epistemological relativism, moral relativism, pluralism, irony, irrelevance, and elasticism. It rejects the universal validity of binary oppositions, stable identity, hierarchy, and categorization. Postmodernism developed in the mid 20th century as a rejection of modernism and was then extended across many disciplines. Postmodernism is associated with deconstructionism and post-structuralism. Various authors have criticized postmodernism as promoting obscurantism, as abandoning enlightenment, rational, scientific vigor, and as adding nothing to analytical, empirical knowledge. You can read that there for yourself, and basically, it's it's total skepticism. There's like no truths. That's almost what basically postmodernism is post-truth. There is no truth. So like, to postmodernists, 1 + 1 does not even necessarily equal 2. Um, so why is this related? Well, you see what's going on here. Um, it's a physics class, it's a math. Okay. Math is not racist, no matter what these crazy people try to tell you. Okay. Physics is math, it's all math. So they're making um physics with its with its universal truths. Like I said, there's certain constants you have to accept. And if you can't accept like 2 + 2 is 4, then I don't know what to tell you. But this is what's going on in university when they're questioning all of this stuff. When they're talking about, like I said, in the article they talked about gender norms. Here's an article from Great Britain where it goes: transgender cyclists booted from championship after females um sorry, excuse me, after um female competitors threaten boycott. Why am I bringing this up with this? Just because the fact that it, like, talked about the gender norms and transgender ideology, and just I want to show this as a solution to what's going on with like the Leah Thomases. If women, if you want to protect your space, this is what you guys need to do. You need to, you know, if they're going to allow a trans athlete to participate, and you don't want you and you guys want it to be fair, then I suggest you guys speak out. And this is the way of going about fighting back, is threatening boycotts. Do not participate. If enough women do it, you guys win. Sorry, excuse me. Um, where it goes here, like conservatives must stop using the jargon of progressive activism to debate trends ideology. And I'll go back to saying when, you have Fox News writing, the Don't Say Gay bill. It wasn't the Say Gay bill. Don't use their terms, because then you have idiots like you had idiots like Ron Perlman putting it out there, don't say gay. How could a politician say, it's like, no, that's what your side said. So, but just the craziness of this whiteness, and talking about whiteness, and talking about trying to change all this stuff is all. Well, sorry, I kept jumping places. So what I was talking about when I spoke with my friend about we're already in the Civil War. This is what this ideological thing is going on with between this whole nonsense of whiteness, and white supremacy, and gender. There's 30, 66, 100 infinitive genders. But meanwhile, when someone transitions, they don't transition from, male or female to one of these infinite genders. They transfer to the opposite gender. That's what they transfer. That's what they want to be. They don't want to be one of these infinite genders. But with that being said, why I say we're in a civil war is, the Civil War right now, we're not in a hot physical civil war, even though we've had stuff like, like the riots of 2020. And you had protests and all that stuff. You had riots, you had protests. What's going on here? It's a battle of information. It's a battle of trying to change the culture. So, what I always compare it to is what's going on here. We're having a cultural revolution. The left is trying to push their cultural revolution here in America. And what is it that they did in China? They got rid of the four olds: old ideas, old culture, old habits, and old customs. So what they're doing, getting rid of traditional family. You could say that's old culture, old custom, old habits, old ideas. Why is it they have to go after the kids? Why is it they're not having their own kids? So they got to mess up your kids. They have to indoctrinate your children. This whole thing about, whiteness, they're using the US's bad history with race against itself. So that's why you have this whole concept of, whiteness. And, it's sad because white people are the only group that has an outward hatred of themselves. It's like blacks love themselves, Asians love themselves, Hispanics, Latinos, we love ourselves. White people, they hate themselves. They literally hate themselves. And this stems from that postmodernism and this whole for olds. Yes. If you look at the history of our country when it comes to immigrants, let's say like Irish and Italian people, now they're considered white. But in the early 1900s, in the late 1800s, when Irish and Italians were moving to this country, especially the Irish, they weren't considered white. They were considered foreigners. And, people want to forget how long it took for, these people to be accepted as part of America. The same is going to happen with every immigrant group. That's just, now you could say it shouldn't be that way, but In reality, it is. And so every immigrant, regardless of color, is always um it's always um not very well welcomed. When you look at modern immigration, some of the uh like you have, I think, Nigerians and Indians and Asians, immigrants from all of these countries, excuse me, immigrants from all these countries are the ones that are being the most successful when it comes, excuse me, that's why they talk about like they call Asians like white adjacent, because um Asians, they have their own culture, you know. um they believe in sending their kids to school, they believe in education, they believe in working hard, they believe in being on time, because even being on time, they say, is a white supremacy thing. So it's like, I must be a white supremacist because I love being like 10, 15 minutes early to everything. So, but that's the idea of getting rid of the old ideas, the old culture, old habits, and old customs. Time is a custom, or that we need to get rid of, and that's what's going on. That's what's going on with post-truth. It's like a whiteboard is racist. Gendered social norms is racist. This is all, whiteness showing itself. Physics values is whiteness showing itself. No, it's an attack on the culture. It's an attack on our society. And, we need to win. We need to fight back, especially, like I said, especially in universities. People need to go into university and fight this. Write your own papers, do your own surveys, do your own studies. We need, right-wing sociologists and psychologists um, and cultural critiques, people culturally critique society. We need these people in academia, because right now the left is dominating. That's why you get these crazy protests in colleges. So, in conclusion, when you see this stuff about, whiteness, and when you see this stuff about gender ideology, know that it's it's our informational civil war that's going on right now. That's what we're living in. We're living in the cultural revolution. That's what the that's what they that's what they went through in China before the communists took over. And the question is, will communists win, or will freedom loving people win? Because that's the problem. The collectivists, the Marxists, the collectivists, they're good at working together, because that's what they do. Individualists and conservatives and free thinkers tend to be more isolation, working among themselves. But this is where you have to this is why I reach out to other content creators, reach out to politicians, to try to talk to bridge people together to fight this, because we have to together fight this stuff, because we're not going to win it by ourselves. So I'm sorry, my voice is almost shot, so I'm going to leave it here. Like I said earlier, if you enjoy my what I have to say, my content, please like and subscribe to the channel, either here on YouTube, and either on YouTube or Rumble, wherever you're watching this. And also, you can interact with me on social media, um, Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, Gab, um, you name it, I have it. except truth, which I honestly I don't I've lost all faith in truth already. So um you can just follow me on the other stuff. So um that being said, happy Monday. Hope you guys excuse me, hope you guys have a good week, and till tomorrow.